everyone, welcome back to Amanda T&Me and welcome back to ARK, Gotta Tame 'em All. So right now, as promised last episode, I am raising up a new baby Parasaur. Definitely has some big health bumps with each kind of phase of maturation, so that's why it's all bloody and gross. So with that in mind, I'm gonna get started making the cannon turret, the cannonballs, and of course the platform saddle, so when this baby grows up, she, I believe, can get stashed in my Argentavis in a Pokeball, so that when it's time to tame a Titanosaur, when I find a Titanosaur, hopefully it is pretty straightforward, and I feel prepared to do so. So I think, yeah, just waiting for this baby to mature is kind of the big wait time for all of this. So I was surprised. I really thought the platform saddle was going to be much more resource intensive, and honestly, because of the number of them, it's actually the cannonballs that seem to be the limiting factor here. So all right, we are going to move on down to our beach base, or west to our beach base. I decided and roped Mr. B into it, that we should go adventuring and get some more biotoxin to make shocking darts. I don't know why I thought the canoe was a good idea. I really don't. But this is very aesthetic, you know, riding into the sunset, and I was like, oh yeah, you know, there's some Nidaria out here. There's a little like school of them. This should be totally fine. This was not totally fine. What was I thinking? I have no idea. So it's like, oh, the first one goes down, but the other ones, I forget every single time I decide to do this stuff how fast they actually swim. And then things happen. Things definitely happened here. I didn't realize like how little or no protection the canoe was going to offer us. So eventually I was able to spawn back in and coming out to get my stuff, and I really didn't know what the damage was going to be here, but I definitely was able to get my stuff back, but there were definitely some costs factored in here. Don't take a canoe out hunting for Nidaria. This was absolutely stupid. So, and then I realized that I picked up Jake's cache. So I forgot that I had my otter, Jake, on my shoulders. He's just been kind of chilling there for months. And I forgot that he was there. And I feel really, really bad. So unfortunately, I will have to find or breed a new otter buddy, because yeah, I really screwed up big time. One of the bigger losses among the T tribe here. So eventually, with a lot of back and forth, Mr. B and I did find our first basil. So we've already cleared out all of the mantas, and I don't know, like this particular basil just attracted a lot of them. Like we would knock them out and draw them away, and then there would be like more of them. But finally, I mean, there's like nothing in this ocean now. We've just literally killed everything to make this possible. So, so this is our first basil, BB, and spoilers. Things aren't so rosy for BB, but we'll get to that later. So I definitely lost some footage of some other basil tames, but this was a long process. This was hours, because they're not only super uncommon, but because our best aquatic tames right now are Barbara Ann and Bernice, the baryonyxes, we are kind of limited on how deep we can go. So again, like I said, I did miss out on some basil footage. I literally have I went into my videos to import into my video editor and realized that there's a video that's missing. I did have a problem with accidentally knocking my recording cable while we were out and about, largely because of, well, fighting large schools of mantas. We did encounter a couple megalodons, but they weren't too bad, but the mantas kind of screwed us up here. So I did test this out to make sure that the middle of the pool here is deep enough for the basils. However, what I forgot is that if I kill the fish in the pond, they respawn. And the types of fish that respawn in the pond are based on percentages. There's a certain likelihood that certain kinds of fish will spawn. So thankfully, our basils were able to produce a couple babies after this initial breeding session, because unfortunately BB, our original basil tame, was killed by a school of piranhas. So you will likely see in the next episode that right now I have the basils, again, still breeding, new pairs of basils breeding, so we can get some really tough ones. Yeah, I did make a note here, but I also have Bernice set to neutral, or I think attack my target, in the pond, and that actually worked pretty good, just kind of keeping the piranhas at bay. So yeah. But speaking of babies, our baby, I believe we named her Penelope, now has this shiny new platform saddle, and I tested it out to make sure that I could put this turret directly on to the platform. Like, I don't need to put like a foundation or anything on here first. And her weight is extraordinary, so we should be able to load her up with just a ton of cannonballs. My bigger fear is actually that the turret will actually start to degrade before, like, even having used up all the cannonballs. So I'll probably have to make a backup, a turret or two to put into her inventory. But I think she's going to be great. I think this is going to be a big change for us. It'll be nice to have like a very large land mount. As you can see, like, I'm just so tiny. I did feed her a bunch of veggie cakes to kind of get her healing underway. That's what she's kind of snacking on right there. So that when we finally take her out, she'll be super big and beefy and strong. So all right, well, some disappointments aside, Rip, BB, and Jake, we now can cross off Basilosaurs off the list, which means we now have access to the deep ocean, and bearing, encountering any sort of alpha creatures, we should be tough enough to deal with some of the scarier things, and we can no longer get knocked off by Cnidaria and electric eels. So, alrighty guys, see you next week. Bye!